Hi everyone, it's Lehman with Lace Covered Skies. I'm here today to do a little bit of a different video for you. I will be showing you 6 glue hacks, and these are things that I've just come up with as I craft, and they really do help me, and they've become kind of a habit for me. But I'm just going to start with the first one, which is pretty basic, and I don't have a project right here in front of me, but I'm just going to show you guys. So let's say I was gluing these 2 pieces together. I would put a bead of glue down each side, right? And instead of just pressing them together, because it can get messy and all that, I will put it in between a piece of scrap paper, just put it in the seam right here, and then press it down. And then once I take it out, the paper would have wiped off all the excess glue. And I find that that helps me a lot. It's become a really, like a habit of mine, an automatic habit, and I do that a lot. But what really helps when using that method is if you have acetate, a plastic bag, anything plastic really, like this is from packaging, and this is just a piece of transparency that got messed up. If I'm trying to glue lace or glue a doily or something like that, and there's all these holes in between, I will, like, let's say this could be a glue gun or a Fabri-Tac or something. I will go around and put all the different areas that need glue, and because it's fabric, it's going to seep through. So I put it on a piece of plastic, and I take another piece of plastic and I just press it down, and it really makes it not messy. And as you can see, the glue does go on here, but that's fine because this is designated for gluing. So that helps me a lot when I'm doing things like that with like holy pieces. Holy, like pieces that have a lot of holes in them. Now my next tip is to, and I think this is pretty common, a lot of people probably do this. Let's say I'm gluing these 2 pieces together and they're cardboard, so they don't necessarily naturally close into each other. So while it's gluing, I'll just put a binder clip on the ends, and then I'll put the binders down to kind of clamp it as it's drying. And it's really simple, but it helps a lot. So that's my second hack, a pretty common one, I think. Now my third hack is going to be whenever I use a glue stick. Again, let's say I'm gluing these 2 pieces together. Now, glue sticks have been my mortal enemy forever. Like in grade school, we used to use paste, like the ones in the film canisters. I don't know if you guys remember that. But once I got to junior high, I think glue sticks were a lot more common. And I hated using glue sticks because they never work. Like, it just falls off in a few days, or it doesn't even stick together to begin with. But as I've collaged a lot and done things like that, I've found that, of course, I have to use a glue stick, because if I use wet glue, it will warp the paper, especially for like little thin pieces that you're trying to collage. So what really works for me is when I put glue on both surfaces that are going to stick together. So let me get something where you can see. All right, so if I'm trying to glue both pieces together, I won't just put glue on this side and try to stick it together, but I will put glue on this side and then put glue on this side, and then I'll go back and do the edges really quick because the edges are usually the problem. And then I'll put it together. I'll put it into my piece of paper, and I'll take, this is a brayer, but it's hard, so there's not a lot of give, and then I'll just roll it on. And that's why, like, in my pieces, they just really stick on there really well. And now I like glue sticks. So I hope that might be helpful for someone. Now, the next thing I do, if I can find it, is I have a book here. It's an old encyclopedia, and I've labeled it glue press because whenever I glue something together, especially if it's cardboard or if it's like a whole sheet of paper, I will put it in here, like just really stick it in here. And I actually did this earlier today so that it really binds the edges together and everything. And I just leave it there. Sometimes I forget about it for a few days, and then when I come back, it's all nice and dry, like these ones, like nice and dry and good to go. So that's another hack. Now, number 5 is when I'm doing something kind of like the lace that I was talking about before, but when I need to put it into my glue press and I know it's like a pretty messy job, like there's a lot of wet glue going on, I will put a piece of plastic in here, and then I'll put whatever I'm gluing. Let's say I'm gluing these two pieces together. I will stick it in here, and if it's really messy, like glue is oozing all over the place, I'll first make sure that the plastic is in there really good, and then I'll put the two pieces in there, close it up, leave it for a few hours, and when I come back, it just literally peels off, and if anything, it'll stick to the plastic the way this piece has a bunch of glue on it, but this will be neat and dried and everything. So that's something I do a lot, and I always keep these sheets very handy. And if you don't have those sheets, you can totally use a plastic bag. I've done that a lot before, because with a plastic bag, let me grab this one. With a plastic bag, you can just kind of make sure that it's in there like that, and then you can just go ahead and stick your pieces in and close it up. It really helps me, and it's a good way to repurpose or reuse plastic too. Now, the last and final one, oh no, that's not the last one. This is the second to last one. This I love doing because it makes this process so much easier. But when I use book pages, I don't like just a single page. I like for them to be glued together. So one of my worst nightmares, well, not really, but one of the annoying things about gluing whole sheets of paper together is when the edges don't match up. Like, that really bothers me for some reason. And when it gets really complicated, it just is really tedious trying to match things up. And especially trying to match things up when you're trying to glue with the glue stick, which is what I would do if it's just pieces of paper, because I don't want it to warp. And the race, when you're like, if you have two separate sheets of paper, let's say, let me see if we can grab one. Let's say I was trying to glue this page together with this page. And so I put glue on both sides, and it's like erased just to match up the edges so you could press it all together because the glue stick dries so quickly. This kind of helps with all of that because it's still intact. The book is still intact, which means the edges will automatically match up. And all you have to do, and I think I showed this in an earlier video of mine. I think it's called Ways to Craft Efficiently or something. But I'll link that video down below. But with this, you just have to, let me see if I can, I'll go ahead and do it. This is not a very good glue stick, this brand. So what I do is I leave one corner where I can hold on, and then I will really do the middle first and get it going, and then go to the edges. And when I use a glue stick, I really use a lot. I'm like really going at it to make sure that it's totally covered in glue. And then I'll go ahead and go to this side. And make sure that edges are really, and I was doing this a lot earlier this year, and I found a really efficient way to do it. So maybe I need to watch my video again. Now I'll go back to the other side and make sure I really got the edges. And now this edge feels a little dry, so I'm going to put some more. And then you just have to close the book and make sure it's even, of course. I have this thing that I just kind of pull it out. You can use an old gift card. I got this thing right here at Daiso for $1.50, and when I'm doing something like this, it really helps. And I make sure I get the edges, and then sometimes I use this. And then I just go on to the next page. So it really helps because the edges will automatically match up. And I had done a bunch of these before, and they feel so nice and solid and thick. I think it's thicker than cardstock because I use a lot of glue stick, and these pages are a good texture. They're not thin. So there's that one. And the last one is kind of a silly one. I still use tacky glue a lot because I feel like it's kind of like a good all-purpose glue. And when I use this, I like to buy this kind. The kind that you store upside down because the cap is on the bottom. Like you can see, you read it here and the cap is on the bottom. So you leave it so that it's always ready. And let me see what it's called. Maybe they don't call it anything, but it's always ready, so you don't have to wait for the glue to come down. Now I ran out of this, so I was like, I don't want to go to the store and buy another one, but I had a bottle of the regular one where the cap is on the top, and you have to like dump it down and wait for it to come down. So what I ended up doing was just basically unscrewing this. Just unscrewing it, it's empty. And then unscrewing this one. And then just trading the cap. And it's definitely, well, maybe it is the same. It looks kind of different, but I think it might be the same. So you literally just have to screw this cap onto the other one. And there you have it. So I mean, the cap, when you put it down, it's upside down, but who cares about that, right? All right, so I just thought this would be a fun video to do, and it might give someone some ideas if you aren't doing that already. If you guys have any tips or tricks or hacks that you use when you're gluing, I would love to hear it down below. So I hope you leave a comment down below telling me what types of things you do. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from me, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye, everyone.